My name is Benjamin Bowles. I am the music editor for Now Magazine Toronto. These are the Nacho lovers and the jokers of the scene. I'm curious for you what it was like initially starting to work with somebody who did not have a background in production and in making music. I'm sure that must present some challenges, but I'm sure it must also open some doors kind of too.
Yeah, but I'm not a trained musician at all. I didn't go to school for music. I was saying earlier I went to school for business. Like I didn't even think I was gonna make this my real job. It was just more just experimenting, like I said. So when it comes to like you know, hooking up with Andrew and making music, it wasn't like I didn't have to like coax him into my approach or anything. It was like an open palette. We didn't have much trouble.
No, it's pretty easy. I mean, we both kind of knew what we each sort of brought to the table. You know what I mean? Like Scott obviously had the production skill, the technical know-how at the time, and I guess just from DJing in the city a lot at that point, I kind of really had like a feel for arranging tracks or like what should happen at this point and like how things should get from this point to this point, just from like the same way building a track like you would build like a DJ set. So I don't know, I think we complement each other in that way.
I had a small record label at the time. Label started to send me records, and this was long before I DJed or had any interest in DJing. And then I got to know Linus through his record store, which he had at the time in Ottawa.
So basically, you were giving him records to sell at a store, and
yeah, he had my records there on consignment there, and I was a customer because I started to buy vinyl because I started to get it and to play with it and get bookings as a DJ, and then we realized I think that we had very similar tastes in music, and then one thing led to another, we started to DJ together.
Started throwing parties in Ottawa, and it's all grown from there.
Now, I'm pretty familiar with the scene in Toronto, and I know a bunch of the DJs and producers who come from Ottawa, but I'm not that familiar with the actual scene in Ottawa. What was it like, and what is it like now?
Again, kind of where the roots of this all came out of was getting to know Chris and another friend of ours, Ian, who's Bonjay now. The three of us started this party called Disorganized like 6 years ago. Started in a small loft space. That kind of blew up. We moved to the basement of a pub. That blew up, and then we put it in a bigger club. So it kept evolving that way. We always wanted to sort of do these eclectic dance music nights where it started out. It was like paralleling what like Polytronics were doing and guys like that, but not being conscious of that because it was kind of before the internet. It's kind of crazy that 6 years ago was before everybody was on the internet.
A bunch of parties like that kind of concurrently rose.
Yeah,
they were sort of open format. Yeah, people were sort of putting a lot of different styles together, and I think that that's how we listened to music. So when we actually decided to do the party, there was no rules to it, and then it ended up lasting 6.5 years.
And in Ottawa, there was like a strong hip-hop scene and then a strong sort of like techno progressive trance scene, and we kind of didn't fit in either.
They were kind of segregated from each other. So I think we just kind of accidentally fit in the middle.
I mean, what's your perception of how the Canadian dance scene differs from sort of city to city and region to region?
It's the big difference, I think, is not necessarily within North America, but it's like North America versus Europe, where it's like night and day.
Yeah.
In Europe, it's like you could go. We did a party like a Wednesday night in Amsterdam, and it was like 18-year-old girls that you think over here maybe would be like just wanting to listen to, you know, whatever's the top 40 R&B charts. We're like getting down to like minimal techno on a Wednesday night, and the club is packed, and that does not happen here.
For pushing it and playing more techno-oriented music, Europe is awesome. Canada's really good, and the US is very hit and miss.
Whereas it's tougher to sort of introduce something different and new. I think in the US, they're looking a bit more for something that they know, that's familiar, that they can sing to, or whatever.
At least where's Canada fit into that in between those two?
At least you get to a certain level, and then you're trusted.
Yeah.
Whereas they always look for a new and different experience when we play in Europe, and I think we thrive there because of that.
Europeans just digest dance music completely different. It's
very different, yeah.
Pop, still much more acceptable in Europe, dance culture. Canada, I think it helps that we are Canadian, so we kind of have that extra push that I think people accept us a little more when we play, because Canadian market's been really good.
So, I mean, how did you get involved with Scion in the first place, and what's been your experiences with it?
Fool's School has had a good run with Scion, and they still do. I don't know why I figure it, but they did a compilation for for Fool's Gold, the Fool's Gold remixed compilation. And then after that, there was a little American tour that we got to participate in. That was great. And then WMC.
Yeah, Scion's always been really supportive of Fool's Gold and helped us get us all to the various festivals and stuff like that, and very supportive of us.
I think this is our third interview for Scion.
Yeah.
And you're also with Cosmo and Ayers and 11 for the Rub Radio.
I was watching that this afternoon.
Yeah, we did one with
a couple of years ago.
Chris Roberts for Vice.
Yeah, I was watching that too.
Yeah, so we did those two. And their presence at like music conferences, South by Southwest and WMC are always strong, so we're always part of that.
They've been a big push for us in terms of just getting us there and putting us in front of the right people, and that's been a big support for us.
And we had 2 tracks on the Scion Fool's Gold compilation as well. So they've always been in our pockets, so when they finally came to Canada, it's awesome to work with them.
Definitely.
Well, it's definitely a different world now, and that traditional record labels are definitely not the only avenue anymore.
There's enough corporate companies out there that are doing record labels better than some record labels.
It's just a channel, you know, and a channel is a way to introduce music to people.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people get scared about that, but I don't see the point. I mean, they're running record labels better than some record labels.
Totally.
So
Scion's done it right. You know, I think that they targeted the right people.